What up? I'm Shep Apelka, and this is the Braves TomaBlog. So I'm back on YouTube, and I have no intention of ignoring the fact that it's been 2 months since I made my last video. My last video was a draft preparation video. The draft was on June 4th, and I haven't made a YouTube video since then. And I think I owe you guys an explanation, because I've gotten a lot of comments of people saying, "Where have you been? We want more videos," and I haven't been able to make them. And I really appreciate you guys, and you guys have been there for me for, over 2 years now. And I think I owe you guys an explanation. So if you guys just want the content on the Braves material, I would skip to the 3rd or 4th minute. I hope that I can do this briefly. I've been trying on YouTube for 2 years now, and it is just demoralizing, and it weighs me down, and it's getting more and more difficult. So, if you're not as familiar with the Braves TomaBlog, if you're fairly new to it and you haven't seen as much material, the Braves TomaBlog started as a YouTube channel 2 years ago when I came back from Boston in 2016. I went to Boston University, and I came back as a college sophomore, and I started this YouTube channel, and I've been doing it ever since then. A year ago, a guy named Jack LeGuin came to me and talked to me about moving it over to Facebook, and potentially, I always had it in my head to get the domain and make it, an actual website in itself. To do that costs money and responsibilities, and I don't make a dime from this. I put lots of effort into it, and I love it. I love every second of it, and I don't want any of this to sound like complaining. But let me essentially describe the process to you that I've been dealing with over the last year since I've been on Facebook. Is that I read the same material, I listen to the same material, and I watch the same Braves games every day that you guys do. And so when I'm doing that, I think of material myself. I think of stuff that I want to say, stuff that I want to talk about. And so I have an idea. I have a Facebook page called the Braves TomaBlog, and if you're not familiar with it and you want more content of it, I post almost every single day. We do have content on there every single day. I post really in-depth articles, and so it's it's about as big as this YouTube channel at this point. I have an idea for something that I want to write about. I pull up a Facebook page. I slap a picture on there. I write an article headline, and then I write the article. It takes an hour at most, if that. I have an idea for a video. I come up with the idea for the video, I sit down, I pull up a Word document, I write out the whole video, I write out the script, I have to come and set up a background for it, I set up the camera, I set up the lights, I set up the sound, and if you're familiar with this channel, you know that the sound is the bane of this channel. I'm awful with sound. I record it, that takes about an hour, I upload it to my computer, I start to edit it, I piece everything together so it's coherent. It's typically way too long, I have to cut it down to get it into a reasonable amount of time. I download it from there, and then I have to go to somewhere where there's good enough internet that I can upload the video to YouTube, and then the YouTube algorithm is just, it's constraining, and it beats me down, and after I put all this work into these videos, at best they'll get a couple thousand if something goes really well, and I have no control over what happens to them after they're out there. I get on Facebook, I write the article, it takes an hour, I can put it wherever I want, I have complete control over it. Facebook works with me to make sure that my good material gets to the most amount of people that I can, and it has grown at, twice the pace, more than that, honestly, 2 or 3 times the pace that YouTube does. And so, it's 10 times the work for YouTube that it is for Facebook. And so it's just beaten me down, and I've tried so many times to get this worked out with Facebook, or with YouTube, that I can, because that's where I started, and I wanted to have a YouTube channel, but it's beaten me down, and it's become so difficult in order to make videos that at best they take me 5 hours, to work through. And then the shelf life on these videos is 2 weeks before they get old. Even the ones that are made for longevity, if you pull them up, 2 weeks after I made them, something has changed. That's the nature of baseball. Baseball articles aren't made to last longer than a week. And so, I put all this work into these videos, and they get old. And so I've just been trying so many different ways of doing things, so many different workflows. And so now I've cut it all down, and I've cut out the images, and I'm just doing an audio recording right now, because that's what I would like to give this a shot, to treat this into a podcast type of thing. And so thank you guys for indulging me and let me work through that. I'm here to do my absolute best, and keep in mind that I'm a student. I work I have a new job that I'm about to start in another week. And so I've been doing this as a hobby because I love it. I'm doing my absolute best to get the material to you guys, so I don't want to whine, I don't want to complain, but I want you guys to be fully aware that if you want the most content from Braves TomaBlog and from me, Chet Popelka, it's on Facebook. That's the place where it's at, and I'm hopefully one day I'll open it up as a domain, and I'll move the Braves TomaBlog to something bigger than what it is, but it's going to take time. And so thank you guys for indulging me. And so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go into what I want to talk about, which is that the trade deadline is currently, it's July 26th as I say this. It's like 5 or 6 days away. I don't know if it's the 31st or if it's the 1st this year, but the trade deadline is coming up. The Braves haven't made a move as I speak right now, but it's that time where anything could happen, at the drop of a hat. I could get an update on my phone right now that says that we made the trade. I'm not holding my phone right now, so I'm gonna assume that doesn't happen. Essentially, what's been going around is lots of different rumors, and so I've been talking with people. Some people talking about going for DeGrom. Some rumors have come out the last few days about first Chris Archer, and then today Marcus Stroman. Alex Anthopoulos has said to the media repeatedly, we have the money, we have the funds to essentially we can pull off whatever we want to pull off. We can get whoever we want to get. And so the situation that the Braves are in is that they're a game or two out of first place right now behind the Phillies. The Phillies are playing much better baseball than them. The Braves are clearly their best days of the 2018 season. I think we can all be up front that those days are behind us. Our best part of the season is past us. What we're hoping for now, though, is that we can stay competitive. We're hoping that, we've clearly arrived early and players have performed early. Ozzie, we didn't expect this out of him. Dansby's been much improved. Acuna's been getting better. Fultonevich and Newcomb have been very encouraging. We'd like to go for it, especially in a year when the Nationals are having a down year and all we're competing with is the Phillies. Of course we're going to go for it. So upon that, what do we need? We need pieces because we're not quite good enough yet, and we know that. We know that we're not a team that can win the World Series. I hope I'm not breaking anyone's heart by saying that, but this is not a World Series team. It's a team that hopefully can get to the playoffs a year early, and that's great. But of course, that shouldn't come at the stake of next year. Of course, 2019, 2020, 2021, those are the years that we can't afford to step on. Those are the years that we can't afford to go all in this year because next year is the year when that actually starts happening. And so the things that we need, we could use a starting pitcher, we could use an extra bat, maybe off the bench, or maybe to play third base or an outfield spot, and we need relief pitching because our bullpen is not good. It's just a plain, simple fact, clear as day, our bullpen is not good. And so there's all types of options that have come around that. Plenty of names have been highlighted. Names are starting to go right now. So Brad Hand got traded the other day. Zach Britton got traded yesterday. There's still plenty of names out there. I think Familia got traded the other day too. There's still tons of guys out there. There's Texas is full of relievers. Cincinnati has just a million of them, like Raciel Iglesias, but then there's Lorenzen, and I don't even know their names, but they're good. Baltimore has a lot of relievers as well. And so there's tons of guys that are still out there, for adding. They're expensive. Relief pitching is expensive this year. But based on the rumors, it sounds like the Braves are focused on going after a starting pitcher mainly. And you can see why they would do that, where if you can improve the rotation, you improve the bullpen. And I've seen Snicker doing that already in the second half this year, is we're asking pitchers to go 6 innings pretty much no matter what. And that's a fair thing, and they've actually done a pretty good job of it thus far. A lot of people want to go for it. A lot of people want to add the big thing right now. And I'm not saying that that's off the table or anything. So Brad Hand got moved, but there's still, guys like Iglesias. There's still Jacob DeGrom. There's, Machado's gone. There's tons of options all the way down. There's Nick Castellanos, although Detroit has been very stingy with him for years now. Here's what I'm thinking of what's going on in terms of what we're looking to add. We're looking to add pieces because we need pieces for our own current guys that are on the team. We need pieces to help them next year. So here's the situation with the relievers. The relievers, we all know, are not good, and we need help. If we're going to make the playoffs, we can't do it with this relief corps right now that we have. But we can't just leave them to pitch on their own this year. they need help not in order to make the playoffs. They need help to stay healthy. And so, I have some figures. For one, in terms of, like, we've been using the same couple relievers a lot this year. So Shane Carl right now is at 50 innings. Dan Winkler is at 41. Minter is at 40. Freeman is at 39. Biddle's at 38. Vizcaíno's at 32. Moreland's at 27. Luke Jackson's at 16. We can afford to use Luke Jackson more. That's a lot of innings for having 60 games left. And so, we've got our Shane Carl we've used for 50 innings, and he's clearly been able to be the long man. There's some figures. Do you remember in 2011 when we collapsed, we had that great bullpen with Craig Kimbrell, Jonny Venters, and Eric O'Flaherty, and we would use them every time we had the lead. We would send them out there. We would send O'Flaherty in the 7th, Venters in the 8th, Kimbrell in the 9th, and it was just shut down. If we got a one-run lead, that was all we needed. We would win the game. We got to August, and they were shot. Their arms were done. We had these 3 young relievers that were just dusted, and their arms fell to rubber, and the team fell apart from there because we couldn't rely on a relief corps anymore. That year, Craig Kimbrell pitched 77 innings, Jonny Venters pitched 88 innings, and Eric O'Flaherty pitched 74 innings. You don't want your relief pitchers, unless they're used to doing it, you don't want them pitching over 70 innings. So that's the only year Craig Kimbrell has ever pitched 70 innings. That's a Hall of Fame reliever. Jonny Venters pitched 88 innings, never completed another Major League season up until this one. We ruined him. Eric O'Flaherty, never the same pitcher after that either. We ruined those guys by overpitching them. And right now, we're continuing to use our guys over and over and over. These are young guys that we need down the line. We need to add relievers. We don't even need good ones. We need people taking the innings away from them because we're exhausting them. So that's where starting pitchers that are going to take up more innings and relievers that are inexpensive that can just eat up innings for you, that's what we need. And so people keep wondering, why do we keep using Sam Freeman? Why do we keep using Peter Moylan? Because they're expendable. Because we can wear out their arms and it's fine. But we can't keep taxing Winkler and Minter and Carl and Biddle like this, because we'll ruin their arms and we'll have lost that. So in terms of adding the big pieces, that's where I would say have some caution. And here's the second reason why, is that old thinking, it's harsh, but the conventional wisdom has said that, and this is true, that bullpen improvement or depreciation has been the biggest influencer of an increase or loss in wins. So the more your bullpen improves, the more wins you'll get. The more your bullpen gets worse, the fewer wins that you'll have. It's directly correlated. And so the thinking has always been, well, you just throw money at the bullpen and your team will get better. And traditionally, that's been true. The way we use our bullpens now is different, though, where we use more and more relievers at any given time. So using a reliever is a high-variance practice. What that means, a high-variance practice, it's throwing a deep ball in football. It's shooting a 3 in basketball. It's swinging for the fences on the other side of baseball. It's something that turns out one way or the other. And so switching relievers, switching pitchers, you have a higher chance of getting an out, but you also have a higher chance of giving up a bunch of runs when that happens. Teams that are good at the variance aspects of sports, so the teams that can throw the most deep balls successfully, meaning like Aaron Rodgers can throw the ball deep successfully. The Packers are going to be more successful than a team that doesn't. The Warriors can shoot more threes than everyone else. They're more successful than a team that keeps it in the paint and scores 2, where the Warriors are scoring 3. Since they're good at it, it works. Same thing with the teams that switch pitchers a lot. If they're able to do it well, they're able to do it really well. Here's the thing: if you go cold at that, if you start throwing interceptions, if you start missing threes, or if you start bringing in relievers that start screwing up, things go extremely poorly, extremely quickly. And so the conventional thinking has been, add the relief pitchers, throw money at them, and then you'll have a great bullpen, and you'll see everything improve. And a lot of times that's true. And so you saw 2016, the Indians add Andrew Miller, and the bullpen carries them to the World Series. The Cubs add Aroldis Chapman, they give themselves a super bullpen, takes them to the World Series. The teams with great bullpens do really well in the in the postseason now. Here's the thing: in the offseason, everyone's applying that thinking. You saw this past offseason when no one wanted to pay for Mike Moustakas or Brandon Phillips or guys who are pretty solid hitters. No one wanted to pay for them. The relievers were off the market in a snap. People had paid Brian Shaw, Wade Davis. They both went to Colorado. Colorado dropped a ton of money on its bullpen. Have you seen how Colorado's bullpen is doing? It's not good. Cleveland has had the best bullpen in the league for the last 2 years. It's one of the worst bullpens in the league. And so you saw them, trade away, Clint Frazier for Andrew Miller. You thought that was going to be all they needed, right? No, the bullpen fell apart again. They needed to add more relievers. It's a slippery slope to start adding relievers, and you've seen the Yankees pay a lot of money for relievers. You see what they did yesterday? They added Zach Britton, because you always are going to need more relievers once you start doing that. That's why the Braves have been so intent on making their relief pitchers work. That's why they've been adding so many. They've been drafting relief pitchers. They've been drafting college pitchers that are just relievers. That's what A.J. Minter is. That's what Freddie Tarnick is. He was a high schooler. But we just use him straight as a reliever. And we develop relievers because we want homegrown relief pitching, because if you start dropping money on relievers, it's a slippery slope to go down, and it's high variance. So do you remember, I think the year was also 2012, when all the relievers' contracts years were up. So like Grant Balfour and Jim Johnson, they were free agents that year, and a bunch of relievers switched hands. They went to different teams, and they were just awful. They were all-stars the year before, and then they were awful the next year. That's how it goes. So same thing. Last year we saw Sam Freeman was outstanding. Peter Moylan had a good year last year. This year, awful. Next year, I hope that we get some good performances out of play. Jim Johnson, that's another good example. In 2016, he was our closer. He was great. Last year, he was awful. He was atrocious. So year to year, you don't know what you're going to get out of your relievers. The best thing to do is to have as many young ones as you can, because if not, you're going to keep adding to it. And so that's why I think that the Braves are having some hesitancy to go in on a big reliever. Now, I'm not saying don't go after Craig Kimbrel, because Craig Kimbrel is a Hall of Famer. The track record is there. Something strange would have to happen for Craig Kimbrel to fall off the map, but that's not what we're talking about right now. The Red Sox are not trading him. All I'm talking about is in terms of what you go after. Pitchers are a high variance addition, and you don't know what you're going to get out of them. And so what that means, if I were Alex Anthopoulos right now, and what I think that he's doing in terms of looking at relievers and looking at pitchers in general, he's looking to not break the bank in terms of trading away prospects. He's not looking to make the move right now. And so that's why I think that Marcus Stroman and Chris Archer are good guys that they're looking at. Essentially, they're another Julio Teheran. And I know that I said that and people go like, oh, no, why would you want more Julio Teheran? First of all, we pay Julio Teheran $21 million over 5 years. Same thing with Archer and same thing with Stroman. They're on affordable contracts. You add them, what do? They eat 200 innings every single year. And that's what they're paid for, and that's what they do. Are they aces? Absolutely not. But I want you to know the free agent market for innings eaters, it's not cheap. So, you think about who's an innings eater? Mike Leake, $60 million. Or I think like $80 million. Jeff Samardzija, innings eater, $90 million. Scott Kazmir was on like a $36 million contract. Rich Hill was on a $48 million contract. If you want to go out and buy innings eaters, you can't do it, especially we can't. Now, fortunately, we're not going to do that because we have more pitchers than anyone in the world. But to add someone like that you can rely on 200 innings for, that's going to get strikeouts for you, it's a great deal. It's a great thing to go after, especially if you can get one at an affordable price and they can help your bullpen out tremendously. We're not looking for the ace right now. We're looking for the guy that will help our team and help us, compete for a playoff spot. But in reality, are we going after an ace right now? Maybe we look at DeGrom in the offseason, but it's the same plan. We're waiting on the aces that are down lower. So Fulton-Evich, Newcomb, maybe they turn into one. Maybe Soroka does. Maybe Kyle Wright does. Maybe Tuki Toussaint does. Maybe Luis Gohara does. One of them might. They're all going to turn into adequate pitchers, hopefully, unless they get injured. That's what we're waiting on. And so that's the point of Brandon McCarthy. That's the point of Julio Teheran. And that's the point of Anibal Sanchez, who don't act like you're not thrilled to have Anibal Sanchez at this point. He's been the most reliable pitcher on the Braves staff the last 2 months, really. And so, that's my thing about where we're going after guys. We're looking for volume, in my opinion. We're looking for, and really, innings. We're not even looking for effective innings. We're looking for innings. I know that that's kind of a bummer. I don't think that we're adding another Peter Moylan. But I don't think that we're looking at adding a guy like Trinian, or he's probably not getting traded, but Iglesias. That's not what we're looking for right now. I think that we're looking for guys that can handle the workload. that can save some of the arms, that can help us get through this season, that hopefully can propel the guys that are in-house right now into stepping into those roles next season. So I'm going to conclude that right now. I'm at 20 minutes, which for, if this is a podcast, that's not bad. If this is a YouTube video, it's a little long. So thank you guys for listening, even to my rant at the beginning. I really hope you enjoyed this Braves TomaBlog YouTube channel about the Braves and baseball in general. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. The good stuff is on Facebook. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and go Braves.